What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Alex, aka Paradox, aka Docs. How we doing today? Well, let's get right into it. Title of the video is Locking In is the Hard Part. Just like the title says, locking in is the hard part. Being locked in is usually much, much harder than whatever you're actually trying to accomplish. Let's say you're looking to upskill and learn, I don't know, a new programming language, or maybe you're learning about stocks or something like that. You're reading books on stocks and all that type of thing, some kind of skill or whatever it may be. The hard part isn't necessarily what you're trying to learn. I mean, yeah, obviously that's going to take some time, effort. It's not going to be easy if it's something worth even trying to achieve. But by far the hard part is going to be taking time out of your day to actually lock in and learn that skill. If you're somebody who works 8 hours plus at your job, works 40 hours plus a week, it is super hard to come home from a day of work when you're tired. You just want to sit on the couch, relax, and instead, you use that time that you're not at your job to actually learn something else for another job or something that's going to go for your business or something like that. That is by far the hardest part. I mean, I don't even think it's close. But if you actually want to achieve stuff, that's what you got to do. That's what it takes. You can't just come home, chill on the couch for 2 and 3 hours watching Netflix, eat food, go to sleep, and repeat, and think that you're going to make any progress, because you're probably not. And people will tell you that too. People will try to get you off your square and tell you like, hey man, it's not that serious. You gotta take some time to chill, and yeah, I agree. You gotta have some time where you just relax, and nobody can just constantly keep working. But I'm a big believer in you have to spend some time every day, 30 minutes, an hour, when you get off work, at least trying to learn some new goal or something you're trying to achieve. I remember, when I first got my first React job, 2017, when I was learning React, I probably had a year straight where, I would go to work, come home, go to the gym, come home from the gym, probably an hour each day. I'm learning React. Weekend hits, entire weekend, Saturday, Sunday, minimum 5 hours on each of those days, learning React, building projects, applying to jobs, all of that. It took me about a year and a half of constantly doing that, 4 to 5 interviews a week before I finally got my job offer for my first React job. And at that point, I could chill for a little bit. But, a lot of the time, the process was super boring. Doing that every day, doing that most of my weekends, because I'm not going to say every weekend I was just locked in, grinding. You do have to relax sometimes, but 75-80% of the time, I'm locked in my room, coding, learning whatever, doing tutorials. And this is back when I was in Milwaukee, so you only get 2-3 months out the year when it's not cold, when the weather's nice. So you can imagine how tough it's got to be when it's, Saturday, it's August, the sun's actually out, everybody's outside, people hitting me up, hey man, we're about to go do this, we're going to do this, you should come through. Nah man, sorry, I can't. I gotta knock out these tutorials. I gotta do this. Oh man, you still doing that, man? It's not that serious, man. Come on. I had to turn them down. And a lot of people said, oh man, you're working too hard, man. You got this good job at Fiserv, and at that time I was at Fiserv, and I just had an entry level web developer job where essentially all I did was use HTML, CSS, and a CMS to generate bank websites, like super low level, not hard to do work at all. In fact, I probably could do most of that work literally half asleep. And people would tell me, oh man, you making like 50K a year, man, that's good enough. That's all you really need. And, people really tried to get me to chill out and say, anything more than that, you don't really need it unless you're trying to ball out. And that was crazy to me at the time. It's kind of funny too. Those same people who was saying all that, like, oh man, if you make 50K, you good, man, you good. Those same people, I see them now. They having to do Instacart, DoorDash, working another job that they don't want to do by choice. I mean, it's good to have multiple streams of income, but it's not like they're doing this because they want to and they're just putting that second job, the money, aside somewhere. They have to work a second job now. Those same people who were saying 50K, 60K, that's good. You should be more than good off that. No, that's not how that works. And because of that, I'm a big proponent of the time spent not working on your skill up front. If you're not upfront spending time learning some new skill on the weekends, on your off hours, whenever, the time you don't spend up front, you're going to pay for that time on the back end. Pause. You're going to pay for that time that you wasted on the back end somehow, some way. So these same people who I used to see back in, 2016, 2017, the weekend would hit or they'd work their 9 to 5 job, 5 p.m. hits, they're at the bar, they're throwing back beers. Weekend hits, they're chilling, drinking, playing disc golf, they're hooping for 2 and 3 hours, they're hitting the bars afterwards. They can't chill and do all that anymore now. Now they've got to make up for that time working their job, doing Uber Eats and DoorDash and all that. And, imagine if they had spent that time when they were younger investing into like another skill or something like that, where they get a job that pays a little bit more or something like that, get another job or build a business. At this point in time, they would be able to chill. See, a lot of times you might have to sacrifice in the present to set yourself up in the future. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They just think about what's going on right now. They don't want to set themselves up for tomorrow. They want to chill today and worry about tomorrow when tomorrow hits. But then tomorrow hits, all of a sudden that 50K ain't hitting the same. That 50K is really like 25K now. I mean, we see it with the inflation. So again, when you want to get to that next step, when you really want to lock in, that's going to be the hard part. Just by locking in, that's going to probably separate you from 60% of people. Because 60% of people, they're not going to come home from work. They're not going to spend their weekend upskilling and trying to learn some kind of new thing. They're pretty much just comfortable with their life. They want to stay there. They want to relax. And I get it. It's kind of natural in a way, but that's really only if you want to be a normie. Me, I'm not trying to be a normie. I really never was. I feel like you got to at least try to do something. You may not get to where you're trying to get to, but at least you can say you tried. I mean, what's the other option? You just don't try in life. I was big on the SaaS stuff and building apps and all that, and I've built a few apps. I've got my captioncaptain.com that generates Instagram captions. I've got careerhound.ai, and none of them really hit or anything like that, but there's some valuable lessons learned. Like I just checked the other day, careerhound.ai has 409 users now. 400 people that have signed up to my app. That's pretty cool to see. And it's kind of funny because, you always have these detractors and whatnot always saying stuff, but a lot of times you ask them, well, what have you done? You seem like you got the answers in. Tell me, what have you built? Show me the app that you've made. People haven't made an app, never tried. It's always the people who never tried something that always got something to say. It's kind of like when you're on like Instagram. Like there will be a lot of times I'll be in the gym, I'll be between sets, I'm just scrolling on Instagram on some sports page, basketball stuff. I comment on some topic, whatever it is. Always the person with the most to say is some weirdo with no profile picture or like an anime picture, 0 posts, 5 followers, following 1,000 people. Always got the most to say, just yapping. That's how it is online. It's always, it's going to be these people, you never see their face. It's just some loser online who spends all day just making memes, rage baiting, all that. Always got the most to say. They ain't got nothing going on. And you got to realize that. You can't listen to these people. You got to trust the process. You got to keep being consistent. Keep doing the boring part, which is just showing up. And eventually that's going to pay off. It may not be a big payoff, but it's probably going to be more significant than had you not tried. And I like to think that translates to a lot of other different areas, because at the end of the day, it boils down to discipline. So you learning or you having the initiative to, take that time off of work, lock in, that translates to maybe you're trying to lose weight. And the same thing, you take that discipline and you take that time, you get off work, you go to the gym, you start meal prepping, you start watching what you eat, tracking calories. A lot of that is super boring. Like lifting weights is hard and all that. Yeah, doing cardio is hard. But the hardest thing is probably actually showing up to the gym, actually meal prepping your food, weighing out your food, eating the same meal sometimes, maybe a few days in a row. All that stuff is boring, but when you want to see, progress, you got to actually go through that boring process of locking in, being consistent, and repeating that behavior. So, again, that's kind of what the title of this video has to do with. Locking in is the hard part. It's not learning whatever the new skill is. You're trying to learn AI, you're trying to learn Python or Golang. Locking in is the hard part by far. If you can lock in with whatever it is, if you can find a way to make yourself lock in, be consistent, and develop your own routine, that's going to help you so much just in life with whatever, because you know what it takes to get to that next level of something, whatever it is. So yeah, nothing crazy today. Just wanted to make a video on how important it is to lock in and why locking in is the hard part. So make sure you guys lock in, using your time wisely. You're not just on the internet making memes all day or, stuff like that. You got to actually be taking stuff serious and getting to it. And don't let the normies tell you that you're working too hard and, oh man, you should just, why don't you just chill out for a little bit? You can do that somewhat. But again, it should be kept to a minimum. Your time outside of work, you got to spend that time for you to take yourself to the next level. Unless you're already rich or unless you're already whatever your goal is. If your goal is to get ripped or something, if you already got all that, whatever you're going for, then by any means, take that time, enjoy it, whatever. But I'd say probably 85% of people, they're not where they want to be in life. So again, lock in. I'll talk to y'all next time.